Hello, and welcome to another episode of Morgan's Pop Talks, breaking down the latest in reality TV and pop culture. My angel bears, we're back from a glorious Thanksgiving weekend. I just loved every second of it. I don't know about you, but I have been sluggish. I don't know if I'm turkey hungover or what, but I just can't get with it. I've been so tired all week. I feel like I can't catch up. I feel like I don't have any will to live. No, just kidding. It's not that extreme, but coming up with content and doing all that and talking to people. I'm just I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But here we are. I want to talk to you. Let me tell you, I'm being obnoxious right now on the Instagram because we know Spotify Wrapped has come out now. And if you ever tag me in the Spotify Wrapped, you're my favorite person now, forever. You are on the top tier of MPT listeners. You are my closest sisters. You are my favorite sisters. So I know it's a little bit obnoxious because I get annoyed when I see other people do it. I'm like, oh, who cares? Who cares about the podcasts that you listen to? But if it's mine, tag me all day, every day. I'm working to be less judgmental, but like I said, I'm just a little bit irritable this week for whatever reason. So if I'm on your Wrapped, tag me or at least send me a picture of it so that I know that you actually do love me. Okay, a big week. This has been my problem too as of late is that, when the Bachelor franchise was earlier in the week, I feel like everything was really spaced out. But now everything happens the later half of the week. Of course, if you're listening to this on Thursday, we have the Golden Bachelor finale tonight. We have Southern Charm tonight. We had the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills last night, where we know Kyle Richards is going to introduce Morgan Wade. But obviously, I haven't seen it yet to talk about it. So Extra Pop is going to jump off on Friday, so you're going to want to be there. You can subscribe in the show notes below. But let's get into the Pop 3. These are the biggest stories from your Thanksgiving week. Dave Portnoy and Raquel Leviss was not something that any of us had on the radar. And this story is wild. And I love a conspiracy, but this even is a little far-fetched for me. But basically what happened is people thought that Dave Portnoy was seeing Raquel Leviss because they were both spotted in the same small town in Illinois around the same time. And this comes right before Dave's now ex-girlfriend was hinting at a split on her social media. So let me just set this scene for you, and then we'll get into what happened. So Page Six confirmed that both Dave Portnoy and Raquel Leviss were in Cary, Illinois on the same morning. Raquel stopped at a place called Conscious Cup Coffee Cary, where she took selfies with fans. And then Dave was at Uncle Jerry's Pizza Company doing a pizza review, right? So a small town, a population of less than 18,000. And, the locals would say there's no way that these two celebrities would ever come here, let alone on the same day. So why are they both here on the same day? Well, then Dave Portnoy popped off and said, I can confirm I've never met that trash bag in my life, and it's wildly insulting to even be mentioned in the same sentence as her, adding that he went to review Uncle Jerry's Pizza Company, which was spectacular, by the way, got an 8.3. People are mad about her or him calling her a trash bag. It's totally rude, but it's Dave Portnoy, so it is what it is. Long story short, people thought that since Dave Portnoy and Raquel Leviss were in the same small town of Cary, Illinois on the same day, they had to be there together. Even though they weren't seen together, they were seen separately. They had to be sneaking around. They had to be seeing each other. And like I said, since then, Dave and his girlfriend of 2 years have split. So immediately everybody was like, he's cheating with Raquel, and it's we have to check ourselves in this moment. This is nuts. This is nuts that just because two celebrities are in the same city on the same day, it becomes a Scandival 2.0. Scandival has rotted our brains, you guys. It's where we are. It's where we are here in life. We automatically believe that the most salacious thing possible is going on because there's no other logical explanation that Dave Portnoy and Raquel Leviss would be in Cary, Illinois on the same day, unless we were getting ready to have a new scandal to be obsessed over. I mean, if they were seeing each other, they're definitely not seeing each other now. Would you publicly go out with somebody who called you a trash bag? Probably not. I mean, it's mean. Like, it's a little bit below the belt, but it's Dave Portnoy. So what do you expect? Me personally, I would expect him to say that. I'm not looking at Dave Portnoy thinking he is the like pinnacle of what a gentleman should be, but it's just, wow, we got to take a couple deep breaths. And do you honestly think that Raquel would get herself into another situation like that? Like, surely we would hope to God that she would have learned something from going through the scandal that would not lead her back on this path. So we're going to leave it there. It was a wild rumor, crazy story. I fully believe that they have nothing to do with each other. Number 2 in this week's Pop 3, Jen Shah and Elizabeth Holmes are doing workout classes in prison together. So just to set the scene for you, Jen Shah, formerly of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and Elizabeth Holmes, who was a fraud. I mean, she was a former biotechnology entrepreneur. She was convicted of fraud in her connection to this blood testing company called Theranos, in case you've never heard of it. And they're in the same prison in Texas. They're in a federal prison camp in Bryan, Texas. Jen, we know, is serving 6.5 years for her part in this big telemarketing scheme. Elizabeth has an 11-year, 3-month sentence for her role in wire fraud at the now defunct company. So Jen reportedly finding a way to pass the time. She's starting a workout class. It's called Shah Amazing Abs. And Elizabeth Holmes is attending. So Jen Shah's publicist, his name is Chris Giovan, admitted that Jen calls her workout class Shah Amazing Abs and that Holmes attended the sessions along with other inmates. My first question is, who still has a publicist when they're in the slammer for 6 years? For a telemarketing scheme, for money. Like you have enough money to pay a publicist while you're in jail for 6 years to write stories about your Shah Amazing Abs class? That is wild to me. Second of all, would you expect this class to be named anything other than Shah Amazing Abs? It's like, you can take Jen Shah out of Utah, but it's like, even when she's in the slammer, she's going to be Jen Shah. She's going to be Shah Amazing. I mean, it depends who you ask, but she's also apparently giving out makeup tips with items that inmates can buy inside the prison. Publicist says she's helped a few ladies. She gives a little advice. So she's having a glam squad session in federal prison. She's having a workout class. She's the it girl in prison, it seems like. And, Elizabeth Holmes, who, if you've watched, is it a documentary? I think it was like a scripted show with Amanda Seyfried playing her. Like, she's a plain Jane. She wears the black turtleneck. She wears the red lipstick. Hair's always up. So maybe Jen Shah is like getting Elizabeth Holmes to let her hair down a little bit. Number 3 this week. There's some drama going on right now with Nayte and Michelle, Bachelor Nation, formerly engaged, since then obviously have had a rough breakup. Well, Nayte is saying that Michelle lied about the money from ABC. The one and only time that ABC has cut a check for $200,000, it was given to Nayte and Michelle, in my opinion, to persuade them to stay together, because at that point in Bachelor Nation, every relationship was failing and people were really getting tired of watching these shows only for them to break up 6 months later. I mean, obviously it's a tale as old as time. And it happened to Nayte and Michelle not long after. But Nayte went on Bachelor Rush Hour with Dave Neal, our dear friend. You should subscribe to his podcast and his YouTube channel. And he was talking about that $20,000 that was given to them on after the final rose. It was for a down payment on their house for them to move in together. ABC was like really wanting to make this work. I mean, $200,000 for a down payment on a house. I mean, and they obviously never ended up moving into a house together. So people were wondering what happened with that money. According to Nayte, they didn't get any of it, which is a stark contrast to what Michelle said. So Michelle, a while back, went on Ben and Ashley I's podcast and said that she donated her half of the down payment to charities. She said, let's see, it says Michelle claimed during the Ben and Ashley I Almost Famous podcast that at the time she had been crying on the phone with one of the producers asking whether she can give the money to somebody else. Nayte said in response to that to Dave, I always thought that was hilarious. We signed a contract of how that money gets sent out. There was only one way we get the money, and that is if we put a down payment. No ifs, ands, or buts. He says if you break up or if you don't use the money within the first year, neither one of us gets the money. He's saying that that was a contract that they signed. He also said, I just knew it wasn't going to last, talking about his relationship with Michelle. You can't be upset about money that's never touched your pocket, that money never touched our pocket, and that what Young said she did with that money is complete garbage. So like, wow. I will say there's a lot to unpack here because Nayte in this moment gave me the ick. I'm not going to beat around the bush about that. I also believe some of the things he said. And I'm also surprised by some of the things that he said. I'll first start with what I'm surprised about. He says, I just knew it wasn't going to last. Here for the wrong reasons, like how does that work? Especially because they didn't break up right away. I mean, they stayed together for a little bit of time, and to, sit at after the final rose, accept a check for $200,000, stay together for what, in my opinion, probably would be for clout. Like I said, gives me the ick. Just his demeanor in this also gave me the ick. Like, I don't know. You just have to go watch it for yourself. It's like, oh, did he have to say it like that? Now, on the flip side, I believe him. I believe that they did not get that money. There's no way that ABC is just going to shell over $200,000 to Nayte and Michelle, for no other good reasons beside the fact that they really want one relationship to work. They would definitely be more conscious of how that would play out. I mean, even the Neil Lane ring, if you don't get married, it's like, what, you get to keep it. If you're engaged for over 2 years, you get to keep it. If not, you have to return it. I would assume that it was a similar deal to that. So even though it gave me the ick, I do believe what he had to say about that. All right, let's move on to our deep dive. Every single week on my Instagram, I open up the deep dive submissions to you. What is it that you want to know more about? This week, our deep dive comes from Anna.
Hey Morgan, this is Anna from Cookeville, Tennessee. My deep dive submission is for Jowsey and Rylee Arnold. Are they together? I feel like they just have two different values in life, so I just need to know. And as always, thank you for sharing reality TV love with me. I just can never get enough content, and your page helps fulfill my love of knowing everything that's going on. Thanks so much. Love you like a sis.
Anna, love you like a sis. Thank you for submitting your deep dive question. Everyone is talking about Jowsey and Rylee Arnold. What is going on with them? Obviously, we know Jowsey, reality TV star. He was on Too Hot to Handle. Rylee Arnold, professional dancer. She is a younger sister of Lindsay Arnold, who is also a Dancing with the Stars pro. This was Rylee's first season on Dancing with the Stars. I do believe that she did like the juniors version of it for a while. But she's 18. So it's like, here comes Rylee Arnold, right? 18 years old, blue eyes, blonde hair, first season. And they set her up with Jowsey of all people, like young reality TV heartthrob. He's very charismatic. He's very charming. It's like, in my opinion, they put these two together knowing there was going to be romance rumors. I'll get into why I think that in a little bit, but let's just start from the beginning. So they were paired up together, and pretty early on into the season of Dancing with the Stars, people automatically assumed that they liked each other. They were out in public holding hands. They were posting TikToks together. People really wanted them to be together. And we've been questioning the whole time, like, are they? Aren't they? They're very flirty. They're very touchy, but like they'll never come right out and say it. There was a particular dance most recently, right before they got eliminated, where everyone was trying to figure out if they kiss or not. You know, they're like holding each other and swaying to this romantic music, and he spins her around and she like grazes. She does like a little swipe and a little graze, a little romantic graze. And people are like, oh my God, did they kiss? I don't think that they kissed. And trust me, like, it's kind of embarrassing how many times I've watched that video and really like pinched and zoomed into the face to see if they touched lips. But I don't think that they did. But they get kicked off the show, right? And then this is where things start to get even more intense for me because, you know, it's not uncommon for dance partners and their reality stars or whoever they're coupled up with on the show. Everybody gets these romance rumors, right? So like, that's not the weird part to me. The weird part is what has happened since they've been eliminated from the show. Harry post this video. I saw it on his Snapchat. I don't know if it's on like TikTok or anything, which it's like, who do we still use Snapchat? I've been trying to figure this out for the last couple of weeks because it drives me crazy. Like I get these notifications, so-and-so posted to their Snapchat story. I don't care. Why do you think I care? Enough to get a notification on my phone? I'm over it. And it's like, you have to remind yourself that there are still people out there that actually communicate through Snapchat. Like to me, Harry Jowsey is a Snapchat communicator, which I'm not about it. I'm not about it. If they're Snapchatting you instead of texting you, run the other way. Run the other way. You know who else did it? Tristan Thompson. You know who he did it to? Marley Nichols, who he ended up having a child with. Okay, I'm off the Snapchat train. That was a big tangent. Anyways, so he posts this on Snapchat, video of him giving Rylee Arnold a $15,000 bracelet to say thank you. Thank you for teaching me the jive. Thank you for teaching me the Viennese waltz. Here is a $15,000 bracelet. Who gives a $15,000 thank you gift if you're not romantically involved is my first question. I'm already leading you into what I think about the situation. But then Rylee does a get ready with me on Thanksgiving where she's wearing the bracelet that Harry got her. And she says, you guys, I can't believe you got it for me. It's I think it's the most beautiful bracelet I've ever seen. I'm the luckiest girl in the world, she says. I'm coming back to that quote. Then we find out that Harry spends Thanksgiving with Rylee and her family. And not just her family, like her extended family. There's videos of him holding babies. He's holding babies at the family Thanksgiving at the Arnolds on the beach in California. So she said on the Lightweights podcast, Harry didn't have any plans for Thanksgiving. My family always goes all out for Thanksgiving. The dinner, the game. So I was like, Harry's got to join. He's got to have a Thanksgiving this year. So he came along. She says, he came to my family's Thanksgiving. They came down to California to do Thanksgiving here so I could be there, and he joined. And it was really fun. He had a good time, I think, and all my nieces and nephew love him. So it was really cute. Gleb, another Dancing with the Stars pro, is also adding fuel to the fire that Harry Jowsey and Rylee Arnold are more than friends. During Tuesday's episode of Dancing with the Stars, some viewers noticed that Gleb in the background was standing there with Rylee as Pasha and Ariana are getting their scores. And Gleb lifts up Riley's hand to show the world that Rylee Arnold is wearing the $15,000 bracelet that Harry Jowsey gave him. Now, I'll tell you, I have no idea if Rylee Arnold and Harry Jowsey are dating each other. But here are my observations. When you use phrases like, I'm the luckiest girl in the world, referencing a gift a guy got you, I think you're into him. When you invite him over for Thanksgiving with your entire family and you pose for a picture of him standing straight, you leaning in with your hand on his chest, prom pic, on the beaches of California while the sun is setting behind you, I'm going to assume that you are into him. The hand on the chest? You don't do that with just your friends. If others around you who know you and know Harry, like, I don't know, another Dancing with the Stars pro, like Gleb, is adding fuel to the fire by raising your $15,000 bracelet up for the world to see on national television, and you're acting shy and you're shaking your head, like, I'm going to assume that you are into him. So I don't know if they're officially dating. I don't know if they've had the DTR, but they definitely have something going on, because if not, all of this would have ended after they've been eliminated. Look at Mauricio and Emma, who also were in the middle of these romance rumors. You don't see Mauricio giving Emma a $15,000 bracelet. You don't see Mauricio and Emma doing the prom pic on Thanksgiving Day, do you? No. You sure don't. And, like I said, the rumor craze with the stars and they're Dancing with the Stars partner, it's nothing new. I mean, I think back to Hannah Brown and Alan, who were coupled up together. I mean, they never were romantic at all, but people really wanted them to be, right? Like Hannah had just gotten heartbroken by Jed on national television. And then she goes on Dancing with the Stars with hot Alan. And they're like, oh, we want them to be together so bad. You have Nikki Bella and Artem, who were coupled up and they're now married. Like I said, Mauricio and Emma, it adds a layer of drama that people are invested in and oftentimes can lead to getting more votes and staying on the show. So it's like, I think at first, it maybe was a little bit of strategy. Like, sure, they're flirting with each other. They're both gorgeous. They're both cute. They're in this environment where you're spending a lot of time together. You're like rubbing up on each other 24/7. Everything is very romantic and you're flailing your arms and you're touching noses like Eskimo kisses, in the middle of your dance routine. You're going to feel some type of way about that, especially if you're both single. But for that to continue after the show, I think is what is most telling to me. Like I said, you don't see Mauricio and Emma having Thanksgiving dinner together. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't know that I like them together. And that's just me being 100% real with you. I don't know. And this could be bad because I don't know these people. Like, let's just be 100% honest. But I view Rylee as like this baby angel, that I don't want anyone to hurt. And I see Harry Jowsey as like the bad boy. That's kind of the vibe that I pick up. But who knows? I could be wrong. But like I said, if they've had to define the relationship talk, I don't know. But I think they've kissed. Come on, they've kissed. They've kissed. I mean, my like engagement ring didn't even cost $15,000. And that's a flex. Oh my God, I would never want David to spend that kind of money on an engagement ring. Are you kidding me? Anyways, that's what I think about that. As more information comes out, maybe we'll get a confirmation. Maybe we won't. Let's move on to Special Forces, the finale. I got to say, I was in and out of Special Forces all season, but the finale really lived up to the hype, especially because we have a lot of our reality TV faves. Faves. I shouldn't say. We still have a lot of I was going to say faves again. A lot of people we know from reality TV on the show. Coming into the season finale, we had Tom Sandoval, Tyler Cameron, Nick Viall, JoJo Siwa, and Aaron Jackson. They're getting ready to go through this 24-hour challenge where they have to endure like military grade interrogation, right? Without cracking under the pressure. So they get interrogated, then they're in this cold room with like these dark bags over their head and like freezing temperatures. Tom Sandoval's like shaking like this the whole time because he's trying to convince people that he has hypothermia. So let's start with Tom. Sandoval, he barely makes it through the first stage of the interrogation and he is sent back to the cell and he's holding on. And like I said, he's like shivering for so long that they send a medic out to him because they think he might have hypothermia. They bring him in. He gets, checked out by the medical team. And they're like, oh, we think he's acting to get medically, to have like, what's the word? Like the medical leave or something like that, where he wouldn't have to quit, but he'd be like, oh, you're so cold that you have to leave the show. But they weren't buying it. And they were like, he's been over dramatic the entire time. We're just like, oh, they were asking him about his white fingernails in the interrogation. And he's like, he literally was mumbling. You couldn't even understand what he was saying. He's like, this is just kind of my thing. And the guy was like, you're what? He was like, "It's just kind of my thing." You're what, sir? Can you speak up? And, you know, Tom did say, like, we haven't slept. We haven't eaten. We're freezing. So I would be irritable too. I'd be like, don't ask me about my fingernails unless you want me to like claw them into your face. But it's just funny. I don't know. It's just funny. Him talking about his white fingernails, everyone calling him over dramatic. And then they sent him home with like 8 hours left because he didn't pass the final stage of interrogations. JoJo was super friendly with the interrogator. I mean, she's JoJo Siwa, just bubbly, can make friends with anybody. But with 4 hours left, she leaves. And I'm like, you have 4 hours left and you choose to leave. And she's like saying out loud, I could do it if I wanted to, but I don't. I've learned my lesson. I know my experience. You know, I want to do what's best for myself. I want to leave. I want to focus on my personal relationship. Stop. You have 4 hours left. And she's like, I could stay if I wanted to, but I just don't want to. What made you want to stay until now? And then bail 4 hours before you're done. I don't buy it. I think she was done with it. I think she was cracking and she didn't want to admit that either, just like Tom Sandoval. Erin Jackson, so she makes the mistake. She pushes interrogators' hands away, and then they attempt to like throw water on her, which makes them even more agitated. And, you know, they're trying to teach her a lesson. They bring her outside, and they threaten her with like an ice bath. She has a fear of water. So they're trying to trigger, you know, that emotional response for you. And then she like gives up the cover story. I thought I thought the episode was good, but at the same time, I'm like, they have to be acting like, because they know they're not really in imminent danger and doom, right? And they're like, oh, I got to keep up the cover story because the bad guys are coming. There's no bad guys coming. Like, you're going to get your head dunked in an ice bath. That's pretty much it. But anyways, she had to come clean and tell the interrogators that she was with the special forces, but it's not a failure in the eyes of the staff who say it's more important to know when to ditch the cover story to save everybody's lives. Tyler Cameron gave me the ick. Also, what's up with the Bachelor guys giving me the ick in this episode of MPT? So he's in there with the interrogator and he's like flirting up a storm with her. And it's gross. It's really gross. She's like, what are you here for? Whatever. Or she's like, are you cold? And he's like, yeah, my lips are chapped. I can give you some of my chapstick if you want to share chapstick. I'm like, ew. Quit being weird. It's weird. And the guys, I don't know what their official names are, but the people that are eliminating people are like, oh, look at this guy. Like, he's acting like a frat boy. And it's just not it. Nick, whatever, they're all fine. So at the end of the day, Nick, Tyler, and Erin all pass. They've all completed. They're all worthy of standing among the special forces. But what everybody's talking about is how on earth are all of these Bachelor contestants the ones to make it to the end of special forces? You have these NFL all-stars. You have, you know, Olympians. You have all these things. And then you have the Bachelor contestants making it to the end. I mean, last season, Hannah Brown completed it. It was only her and Carly Lloyd. They were the only two to complete it. And now we have Nick Viall, Tyler Cameron, and an Olympian, Erin Jackson. So Nick said that he thinks they're primed for like the psychological aspect of it, because in his opinion, his time on the Bachelor franchise, it's like you're alone on an island and you're internalizing a lot of things and you don't have anybody that you can trust. And it's like psychological warfare. So maybe that's true. I mean, because they could do it. But I also think you have to have a certain personality type to be memorable on the Bachelor franchise. And some of that has to do with your ego, you know, and they want to prove on the Bachelor franchise that they are desirable enough, right, to either be the Bachelorette or to be chosen by the Bachelorette or any of those things. And then they want to prove on special forces that they are tough enough. You know, none of these people like to lose. None of these people like to be rejected. So I think, also you have to prove yourself more as a reality star because you're not an athlete, because you're not supposed to be good at the physical challenges. You're really not even supposed to be good at the mental challenges. Like, you're a reality star, But props to them for completing it. I would never in a million years go on that show, but I will happily watch it and recap it on MPT. Okay, like I said, make sure you are subscribed to Extra Pop because I feel like the next couple of days we're just going to be bursting with things to talk about. Kyle Richards and Morgan Wade, The Golden Bachelor, Southern Charm. It's all going to go off. So it's Patreon. Just search Morgan's Pop Talks. We do have 2 tiers. If you only want Bachelor content, it's Pop of Batch, not Papa Batch. Pop of Batch. That's $3. Extra Pop is $5 a month. It's lovely. If not, it's all good. Leave me a review and we'll be on the same page. A little love you like a sis, a little 5-star rating. If you don't want to do that, why are you here? Okay? Stay, because I love you. We'll see you next week. As always, love you like a sis. Bye.